Happy Friday, everybody. Daniel Allison, the average dude. Welcome to First Sip. I'm ready to get my mind right. How about you, Freddie Blanton?
I showed up today live at 7:55 to make sure that I get my mind right.
Woo-wee. I love to hear that. I love to hear that. I'm holding in my hand a very warm cup of coffee, Freddie Blanton,
Yeah,
and
hello.
I would love to drink.
You ready?
All right,
First sip, let's go!
let's go. Mm. And next time, I'm going to bring the guests that are backstage, especially our longtime bus rider, Joe's back there. And I saw him take that first sip. So cheers, Joe. Mm. Hey, we're going to have a great discussion about sales today. We had a great time last night. Are you ready to finish off this week in a big way, Freddie Blanton?
Why wouldn't I be?
I mean, you're every single day, it seems like you are. Come on now.
It's the only way we can make it, Danny.
It's Friday, baby. Let's go. Great to see Paul Pappy on the bus. And hopefully we have a lot of other great bus riders. What did you think of the party last night? The F3 party, Freddie Blanton?
F3 gathering at Lake Bowen. Did you see the amount of food available?
Oh, man. And all those talented hands that had their hands on the food, grilling, making bean. Wait a minute. I got to give props to my co-host. Freddie Blanton made an incredible bean. What was that? 7 bean.
We'll call it a marinated bean salad. Let's just
A marinated bean salad, but we had all sorts of great dessert. We had a ton of food, great people. What else did you take away from that event? So this is our fitness group. If this is your first time joining the show, Fitness Faith Fellowship, and we had a great time last night getting together at one of the houses, Steamer, and having some fellowship. What else did you take from that event?
Well, it's nice just to get the group of guys together away from the workout scene.
Yes.
Try to get to know somebody a little deeper than lifting concrete blocks or sprinting. And
That's
then
right.
you kind of understand that just the talent level
Woo.
that is in the small workout group. We are surrounded by successful people.
We are, and that's one of the things that I want to talk. I know Joe's been involved in groups, and Chris backstage. We have two guests that we're going to talk to, but it's great to be around, folks that are around our age. We've got younger people, we've got older people, but you see all the different varieties of skills, occupations, talents. But then you have some commonality, and you come together and you see each other 3 times a week and no matter who you are, it's the same thing. We all need to get our fitness in, right?
Yeah, and then you got guys who you didn't know could do oysters or brisket or maple sweet potato bacon wrap bites. It's just the
Ooh,
next level. Like, man, I
it
knew you're
is.
talented, but I didn't know you could do that.
I know it. Well, hey, we've got some more talented people on this bus this morning. There's George. Great to see George on the bus. Good morning, people. He's ready to roll. There's Ken. Great to see Ken this morning. And Paul, we wish you could be on the panel as well, but he had an 8 o'clock meeting. I love getting unique combinations of people that I've met through the years. And today we've got a unique combination. We've got Joe, who I've known for many years now through LinkedIn. He's been in sales his whole career, but there's some things that I haven't talked to Joe about. I'm excited to ask him this morning. And then, of course, Chris Goldman. I'm gonna let you tell folks a little bit about Chris. Who is Chris, Freddie?
Oh, Chris. Well, he, started coming to the workout group, and I don't remember who invited him.
Yeah.
But, for a year, we didn't even realize that he owned a pair of shorts because he'd wear pants every time. It didn't matter if it was 92 degrees or 32 degrees. He had on pants. We didn't know if he had bad tattoos or what. But then we found out, okay, he's normal. He's got legs. They're just real cold all the time. But he's also he works out with me at D1 a couple mornings a week whenever he can drag himself out of bed.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? The very first
I'd call it old school and new school today.
Old school. You know what? I had written down over here, old school and new school. We've been doing it for 2 days, folks. So, but without further ado, let's meet these fine folks. Here's Joe and Chris. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Great to see both of y'all live at 7:55. Joe, you've been with us on this journey, this energy bus journey. We really appreciate your comments, your wisdom. What do you take from what we do each morning?
First of all, an honor to be here, and Freddie and Daniel. It has been great over the years. Chris, welcome, and you got a good group here, and I know they got the old and new going on, which is fine, But I would say consistency would be in commitment, Daniel, and Freddie knows what I mean by that. Whether it's different aspects of life, right? Get your mind right. Get your body right, get your soul right. It's kind of harmony going on. When you get all three of those going on, you got some magic. But it's got to be commitment to friends, which friendship takes trust, and it takes a while to build up. So this has been enjoyable because in the morning you get your mind right. Like I know you guys work out, which is cool. I'm going to work out a little later and maybe play some pickleball, but. Nice. You gotta get it all right, man. And it starts with. I know you guys already did your first sip, but I got some nice Polish Spring from Maine here, and it's room temperature. It's not cold. The best way to drink water is room temperature. So,
I agree.
Absolutely. Hey, we've got some more bus riders, and you'll know some of these folks. Joe, there's Julie Toredo. Great. Tadaro, I'm so sorry, Julie. I started calling her by the wrong last name, Joe, and I cannot.
I know. So it's Italian names, Daniel.
I know. I'm bad at it. Hey, there's Kenny. Good to see Kenny this morning. This guy, I don't know if y'all know Kenny, but he has such a positive spirit about him. Joe, I'm sure you may know him. Savor the flavor of the awesomeness of you, Peach, from Sugar Land, Texas. Let's go. That's where Gary's from. And there's Metal Man Matt. Great to see Matt on the bus. And it's new school and old school today. There's Vicky Watts. Great to see you. V-Dub. And Chris, first question I've got to ask you. We love having you in the F3 group, but I know you and Freddie are doing this D1 too. So you're getting a lot of fitness and you're getting a lot of Freddie Blanton. What's it like doing D1 with Freddie Blanton?
He keeps it interesting, man. That's for sure. Keeps it tight, So I'm not the most lively person at 5 o'clock in the morning, and so when someone's in there, hooping and hollering and yelling at 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm not on the same wavelength quite yet. I'll get up and be disciplined, but Freddie takes it to a new level. So it's been great.
Absolutely, but it's great to talk with you this morning, Chris. And I had a question for you. You've done some podcasting in the past and that sort of thing, talked to people. Did you enjoy that time, kind of interviewing and getting to know folks?
I did, yeah. I enjoyed it a lot. We had a lot of guys on the podcast. We interviewed people trying to piece together some trends on what made people successful, and whether they were coming from business, whether they were coming from sports. We had some professional fighters on the podcast as well. So I definitely enjoyed understanding and unpacking on a deeper level what makes people tick, how they get to where they are, where they, what were their habits, what were their disciplines, what were their mentalities. And you start to really draw parallels when you're able to spend some time with those people. So it was really an awesome time.
I love that answer. I would like to ask Joe the same thing. Through the years, I know you've got great experience doing a lot of different things. What are some of the things that jump out to you about what makes someone successful?
Well, we have to understand there's phases in our life, Daniel, and to respect that. I mean, somebody at my age now I wasn't the same person when I was 26 or 46, So, you got the wisdom of age. No, it doesn't mean that when you get older, you get wiser, but you can have that opportunity with experiences. And it sounds like Chris is already starting on the right path because, he's got a good foundation. And Chris, it's great to hear that. Like I was at a trade show event last night, and it was one that I was a president for 3 terms. And it's nice to see somebody else running the show. And I was sitting down for, and the people, the 4 people at my table, it's about 30 people in the trade. I was in the plastics industry, injection molding and medical parts, industrial parts for so many years before I did IT.
Yeah.
But I sat at the table, and the young lady, about Chris's age, she said, "Joe, why did you step down as president?" And I said, "Because it was time. It was time to step down. It was time to let somebody else, shine and develop. And, I'm supportive. But I think that, having a good team around you and allowing others to shine. At the same time, I met 2 new people from New Jersey. And, one was a vice president of a company, and the other one was a regional sales manager. And he was telling me a story of that right now at that day, yesterday, one of his team members was in Rome on vacation. And actually, my daughter is there right now, too. She's attending a wedding. But anyways, so his team member was there, and an opportunity came up. And he said to himself, do I call her from Rome and share the opportunity, or do I just kind of let it go? Because she's a young woman, young professional, and this is a great opportunity. I'd love to have her attend this event that he was talking about. And he said, I'm going to text her, and I want to give her the opportunity. And he did. And within, like he said, 30 seconds, she responded that I'm in, I'm full in, and whatever you want me to do, I'm going to do it. And it's just nice to see that circle of life. And he's the same way. He's a mentor in addition to being a sales manager. And it's just nice to see that.
Absolutely. And there's different stages, and I've definitely experienced that in my career. Freddie Blanton, what's on your mind as we get this discussion started?
I'm curious, Joe and Chris, and you can answer in any order. As long as you've been in sales, and Chris, not as long as Joe, have you figured out or even expect sales to me has become a lifestyle? It's not a 9 to 5. And how do you find that applicable in your situations?
I love that. Guys,
Chris, why don't you go? This will be interesting.
Yeah. So I can take that one first. Yeah. So I do feel like it is a lifestyle. It's more of personality. It's more of a habit of what you're doing. I think the old mentality, that's beginning to change about sales is the whole perspective of the car salesman analogy, which is overused. But I have learned over time that it's a lifestyle, but you're also obviously you're solving problems. But I have learned the best salespeople know how to extrapolate information. Like they don't have to tell people why they should buy that product. They more can listen and figure out what someone's pain point is, and then be disciplined enough not to present the solution right away. So I think that lifestyle, naturally, I find myself in conversations now where I'm in the quote unquote discovery phase, like trying to understand what really is the problem this person's facing. And I'm not even trying to sell them anything. I'm just trying to understand what is it that you're trying to change? What is it that you're wanting to change? So I think that coincides with it being more of a lifestyle than it is a job. It's a mentality. It's an approach. It's it's who you are as a person, that how you interact with people.
I call it the human being game, right? Just being a great human being, and you're that person when you're sitting in the sales appointment, or when you go home, or when you're at F3, you're the same person. Joe?
Yeah, I'm going to also defer this to, we have a lot of great bus passengers, and over the conversations, they have educated us on the same answer to that question. And, you have to understand that it's not a button you shut off. You either commit to sales. It's like a policeman, like whatever shift that he or she goes on, Do you really think that they're off duty when they go off duty? Like
That's
if there's
right.
an emergency or if there's something happening, the good ones they go into action, whether they're getting paid for it or not. And that's the mentality with SEALs. And I would say number one that has helped, and Daniel, you know well, and Freddie, you've mentioned it a couple of times, is that education. Like if this is your trade, well, get damn good at it. Okay. Whether it's selling Bobcats or it's doing whatever, Daniel, you've been through the highs and lows of even conducting a podcast or, being a speaker. You became good at your trade because you went to Toastmasters and you're all in, you're full in. So SEALs, you got to do that. So get educated. I've taken enough courses. I value the education that I've learned. One of them was Sean Covey, and read books, right? Read the books that count. Like Sean Covey, he had eight attributes of an effective salesperson, and number 2 was, keep the end in mind. And it's funny because we were talking about that last night. In other words, where you want to go, what goals you want to have, understand those and work back from those. Because if you don't have any goals, you don't know where you're going to go. You're showing up every day, and that's not good enough in life. You gotta, Freddie, when Chris was talking about when you show up in the morning, you show up to do it, man. You want to get the most out of it. You want to help other people. You can joke. Look, if that's a sign of friendship, Chris, by the way, if he's giving you a hard time, that means he likes you. If he didn't even pay attention to you, then
he must love me, Joe. He must really like me.
He does love you. I love all you guys. But that's what love is all about, man. You got to give it. And so education is important, but then authenticity, when you say something, mean it. Trust. It's funny. I was on a call yesterday with a gentleman I just met from another group, and I just met him, and we were talking like an hour. I don't, just sometimes you talk to the right people and time just goes by. And he says he builds up trust almost immediately. And he's one of those guys. He's got it going on. I mean, he's smart. He's very intelligent. He is authentic. But I had to tell him, I said, trust takes time. Okay. You might have an affinity with somebody immediately, like we do with the bus passengers, right? But real trust takes time. So build that. And it goes both ways. Trust for people that you earn and trust for them earning yours as well with the customer. So
I've got a question, guys. That's a great point, Joe. But you made me think about this. There is a lot of sales advice out there, right? Chris, Fred, Joe, you can read so many books. There's so many different ways of approaching it. And it can kind of feel like a golf swing, right? There's so many golf swing tips. Everybody's giving you a tip. Then you stand over the ball and you're trying to remember to bring your hand back and do this and do that. And now you've just fumbled it. And I've seen reps do that before. They walk in and they're trying to remember all of that great information instead of just kind of simplifying it. Now, I love start with the end in mind. And I think these are great principles, things to think about. But Chris, when you're walking in on a sales call and you're getting ready to meet somebody, what's going through your mind as you go in to meet someone that you may be selling?
Yeah, I would say it's always the same. I've learned it's the 80-20 rule, right? So I was a sales trainer for a while for a large home improvement company, and we were at a phase where we were trying to get better. And there's certain parts of that 10-step sales process we developed that I still apply to any appointment I go to, whether it's in-home sales now in manufacturing, it's the same thing. Most of those sales are closed through the discovery phase of figuring out what is their problem. So that's what I'm thinking about. What is their problem? And what's the tailored solution? And so all, the things that I've read over the years or the advice I've gotten, all that is important, but I try not to bog myself down going into an appointment. I want to find out what's their problem and can I help them? That's as simple as I can prep myself for the appointment. And that's what I go in looking for is what's their problem and how can I help them? What does that solution look like? How can I tailor that solution specifically to them?
Yeah. That's the word that just popped out in my head. Discovery, right, Fred? it's asking the right questions, finding out what their true pain point is, finding out if you can really help them. But I think that's a great place to be, because instead of telling them what we've got to offer, we're going to discover what they need. So I think that's a powerful thing. Fred, anything on your mind? I've got another place I wanted to take these guys, I guess.
No, I like the fact that it's simple. I mean, at the end of the day, you don't want to make it complicated. You want to keep it simple for the customer. Mm-hmm. And then if you practice the things that you hear and you become natural and you do it in a way that meets your personality, people love that because they know you're being true to yourself.
Absolutely.
Can I add one thing on that?
Yeah.
Is that because Dan, you brought up golf, and you got to understand the system, like Sandler selling system for business. I think that's one of the better ones because it's actually a system. But with the golf swing, you got to make it yours, like Freddie said. But you also have to have muscle memory after a while. Like you do it enough, just like Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods used to spend between 2 and 5 hours a day, on his golf swing. I wish he spent that much time on his personal life. He might have a better one. But on his craft, he spent a lot of time. And to Chris's point, you want to have that system, but you want to have it customer centric. Don't go in for the order, go in for the relationship building. And if you get the order, you've done your job, you had the discovery, they have a need. But if you don't fill that need, have a network that you can say, I got a guy, I got a girl, I got somebody that can help you and introduce. I do that probably more often now than I ever did. And there's something rewarding about that because it builds on the ripple effect. It builds your network for the right reasons. And that's the only thing I would add to that.
No, I love that. And I think we can change when all things are equal, but we're the guy that can connect them to other people and help their business in new ways. Well, then we're a more valuable asset to them and their organization than a guy that's selling the same thing that can't do that. Because very, very often these margins are tight. They, whether we buy from Freddie or buy from his competitor, it might be give and take. But when we find out that Freddie's well connected and can help us in other ways, well, then that changes the deal. Anything else that you guys wanted to talk about?
No, hit us with that thing you got, Danny.
This thing that I got on my mind.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I wanted to talk to Chris real quick. I just thought it would be, I know that you went, and this is a little bit off topic, it's a little bit of a segue, but I think it's the human being game, right? And we talked about being good 24/7. You went to the juvenile justice, I heard through the F3, and you gave a little speech to those folks. And you kind of told your story, and I've never really heard your story. So I know we don't have time for that, but can you give the 30,000 foot view of what that progression was like? Because I think it's a powerful thing for folks out there.
Yeah, I'll give you the condensed version. So pretty much most of my whole life, I didn't have the worst life growing up, but I had a lot of setbacks. I had some health issues at a young age, coming from growing up in a lower income home, single mom, food stamp, Section 8 housing, a lot of stacked up against me. At the time, that was normal. I didn't feel sorry for myself. That was completely normal. Ended up serving time in the Department of Juvenile Justice when I was 15. But after that, change didn't happen right away, right? So I wanted a different lifestyle, but when you grow up in those types of factors, change is hard because you are who you hang around. In sales, we know that, right? So if you're limited with who you're hanging around, it becomes a more challenge, a more long game, right? So, but as I got older, began to realize, hey, my life's a little bit of a mess now. I want to make a difference. So what I developed over time I always had a no excuse. When I went to juvenile justice, other kids were in there blaming everybody else. I was like, I'm going to do my time. I'm going to get out, and it is what it is. And I'm not going to point the blame at anyone else. So looking back now, I think that was something that I developed. Even when I was getting in trouble, I did want an out. I did want to find something. I felt like my only way out was college to get away. But I'll share this quick tidbit of information is it's not that easy. I've got some people in my in-laws and some other people have a perception that poverty is a choice. And I know that's simplified. That's not always true. Poverty, you have to work your way out of. So because yes, I had the desire to want to make different choices, but I didn't have a reliable vehicle. That was a big resource people overlook. You go to buy here, pay here, they're going to hit you with 32% interest, which happened to me. And there becomes a whole different other setback in and of itself. So I had the desire always, I wanted to make different choices. And I had the consistency and the ability to do that, but it's played itself out a little differently. So my takeaway for people in that is what I've transitioned to now is a lot has happened that changed who I was, but I became the first male in my family to ever get married. And, I've been married now, will be 10 years. We got 2 kids, more than 2 years. First one to ever graduate a 4-year college university, to ever own a home. So there's a lot of firsts for me, and so a lot has happened from that time I was a 16-year-old kid to now being 35 and who I am and the success I've found and some of those things. But one of the biggest things was I never made excuses. Even at a young age, I always was driven to have a better life and to be successful. And what changed that trajectory was somebody introducing me to sales. When I was in college, my second go around, I flunked out. My first go around, I went back again. So that's one of my messages to people is don't be afraid to take the unconventional route in life. Just go after it. You ain't got to get it right the first time. Go after it again. And so I got introduced to Entrepreneur Program, and that was it for me. Never looked back. They had coaching, they had training, and they had accountability. And those were the 3 pieces. I became their top sales rep and had no idea I was a salesperson. And I thought I was going to hate sales. And so I got their top salesperson award 2 years in a row on a national level. We got to go on their awards trip. And at that point, I knew then this is it. This is sales. This is what I want to do. I'm good at it. I can figure it out. And so that's a little bit about very condensed version of my life and facing those setbacks. But I'm grateful for those. I instill those in my kids that life isn't always easy. And I don't regret or wish my life was any different at that age. So.
Fantastic. Julie says, Chris Goldman, good words. I would agree. Let's see what Kenny says. Thank you for sharing such a beautifully well articulated. Wow, look at all those words. These words. Hey, Rick, please read Kenny's comment after the show because it's fantastic. And that's what makes him fantastic. Chris, I'm so glad that I asked the question. I think you said so much there. Everything from no excuses to change is hard. And it's really hard for us to wrap our head around that. I was in the subprime finance world and I saw exactly what you're talking about. You've got somebody that's down on their luck and yes, the risk is there. So you understand financially what the company's doing, but my goodness, it keeps everybody down. And so it makes it harder to pull out of. So a lot popped out to me as I heard you. Joe, I'm gonna let you comment on what Chris said, please.
Yeah, I mean, Chris, that's a great story. And, Chris, you brought up a lot of great points. And congratulations, by the way, because I grew up in the city. I'm going to tell you that when you grow up in the city, you get to size up somebody within 6 or 7 seconds. You got seconds. And this is like at 8 years old. It's not like you're a teenager and you are kind of lived a life. But I would say that the choices. So in the end, no matter what happens to you, you still have a choice. You should still have a choice to do right or to do wrong. And you have to understand what right and wrong is. And it sounds like you do. But that's the consolation prize, if you call it, that you've taken the right path, and I would say that you're on your right way. Look, I've won jackets and money and trips and all that stuff. And the only reason I say that is because when you do the work and you put it in, you do reap the benefits. But you know what the most rewarding thing is? I remember when this is in Florida, I was working for a company and I got called up on stage and, I had won the number 1 slot in the country. And when I accepted the award, I said conditionally that I would like to accept this, but I'd like to acknowledge all my team members, especially in customer service. And I'd like to have them come up here. And the president of the company said, that's never happened before. And after, he took me aside and I said, well, you know what? It should, because these are the people that make what I did possible. And we all as a team won this award. And I think as long as you got that humility still, that's gonna carry you far.
Sure.
I like that. That's a great story. Hey, Freddie, we're at the end of the show. We've heard a lot of good comments. I'd like for you to clean everything up and set us off on this Friday. Can you do that?
Yeah, well, it sounds like if you want to be successful, you can have no excuses. There's always a way out if you find yourself in the predicament, and choose the right path. But don't forget, when you do get to the top or you go level to level, somebody behind you or somebody in the back is helping you. You can't forget about those people.
Oh, hey,
There's one guy I know right there.
There we go.
There it is. And I knew Joe would have to say something there too. And I love him for it. But hey, guys, this has been fantastic. Lots of great stuff here. I hope everybody got motivated. I hope you got your mind right. Chris, thank you for joining us. Joe,
Thank you, man.
thank you for being here. Freddie, I'll see you Monday, my friend. We'll go for 480.
Let's
roll, everybody. See
Peace
ya.
and love.
Take care.
Thank you.
Ah.
See ya.